السلام عليكم. Welcome back to another episode of Quran Weekly, where we read the Quran in Arabic but discuss it in English. My name's Ahmed, and on the call with me I have Captain Imad. Say hello, Captain.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be with you again.
And we're going to jump straight back into it. We're reading Surah Al-A'raf, and this is now verse 88. But before we begin, we must always explain that we are not scholars in the Arabic language, nor scholars in Quranic studies. We are merely undergoing a journey where we learn about the Quran and share our learnings with you. So if you see something that you don't understand or you disagree with, then please feel free to drop a comment, and we will learn from each other. That's pretty much it. Before we begin with the reading, we always start with أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek refuge from God from the devil, and in the name of God, who is most merciful and whose mercy is most encompassing. Over to you, Captain Ahmad.
Okay, verse 88 says, قال الملأ الذين استكبروا من قومه لنخرجنك يا شعيب والذين آمنوا معك من قريتنا أو لتعودن في ملتنا قال أولو كنا كارهين. Now his people are الملأ. We explain كلمة الملأ, the majority of the people from شعيب.
Yeah.
And those who استكبروا, بعرف شو معناها بالترجمة بالإنجليزي.
Were arrogant.
Are arrogant. Okay, those who were arrogant from his people, they told him, we will kick you out of our village. Either that or you come back to our religion. And then the Shaib said, أولو كنا كارهين, even if we hated going back to your atheist or pagan religion.
So it's saying we will kick you out and those who believed with you from our village. So we kick out both you and the people who believed, or you come back to our religion, our way. And he said, even if we are the ones who hate it, even if we hate this type of religion, you want us to come back? Interesting.
So they threatened him by force. Either he leaves the village or he goes back to their pagan religion.
Yeah. Interesting.
Next. قد افترينا على الله كذبا إن عدنا في ملتكم بعد إذ نجانا الله منها وما يكون لنا أن نعود فيها إلا أن يشاء الله ربنا وسع ربنا كل شيء علما على الله توكلنا ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين. The verse says, we would have lied to God if we go back to your religion, not after God has saved us from your pagan religion. And there is no way on earth we can go back to it unless if God wishes us to do. Now this verse specifically says, if God wishes us to do that, to go back to your religion.
Yeah.
Now this brings us to مسألة المشيئة. وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله.
Willing, where does the power of decision of willing happen?
Okay, now if God doesn't decide on his own or chooses on his own to mislead people, God leads people who wants to be led to his right path, and he misleads people who wants to stray away from God's path. So the يشاء هنا, it is about God, يشاء الله, بس الله لا يشاء أن يضل أحد يريد أن يهتدي ولا يهدي أحد يريد أن يضل.
So it all God doesn't misguide someone who wishes to be guided, and doesn't guide someone who wishes to be misguided, to translate. I don't know. Like, I understand what you're saying, and I understand this perspective, but here it's very clearly saying, unless God has willed that we come back to it. So this statement does emphasize the power of God's influence over our wills. Like
what is not mentioned in the verse is that it depends on your choice, guys.
No, but here it says, وَمَا يَكُونُ لَنَا أَن نَعُودَ فِيهَا, and it would not be for us to return to it. So this is showing what they want. They would not return to it except if the will of God, our Lord. So they're saying it's not because of their own will, it's because of God's will that they will come back.
And God will never mislead he who wants to find the right path.
I hear you, but the statement here that they're making is that we'll only go back if God wills. So I know that God wouldn't do that, but technically it's possible. And here, that's what they're saying. They're just saying what is possible. They're saying it's possible that God could want us to go back.
Maybe I should investigate this verse further and come up with an answer for you.
I mean,
So
I don't
let me take.
I don't struggle with the idea that God has influence over our wills, and I find, in fact, it gives me comfort. Like, for instance, I've been on a path of self-discovery and healing and walking towards the light and leaving behind the parts of me that kind of lowered my vibration, that kind of brought me down to more common desires. And it's possible that I can always go back to them. It's possible that I can always go back to substance use or back to a previous life that I wasn't as enlightened as I am today. And I would also say the same, that if God wanted, he would send me in that direction. It's not to say that he will.
And he would, sorry to interrupt, and he will send you back into that direction if you take the first steps to do so.
So yeah, you're saying it's tied to my will first. I'm saying I don't think it's tied to my will. Just like, it's possible that if God wants me to, I will go back for a specific reason, for a specific way, even though I don't want to right now. And the thing that comes to mind, for instance, is an addict, a person who's struggling with like substance use and substance abuse, and is saying, really, there's sometimes, many times, when an addict does not want to fall back again, but things happen and they crumble under pressure, under pain, under sadness, and I can believe in certain circumstances where an external force imposes upon you an effect. I don't think that it always comes from it doesn't always come from the human first, but it's possible that it does. I'm not denying what you're saying. I'm just saying that it's possible that it's God's will. And that's what this verse is telling us. We would not return unless it's God's will. That's what here is what it's saying clearly.
Okay, that makes sense actually. Shall we continue?
Sure.
وسع ربنا كل شيء علما. God is all knowing. He knows everything.
Yep.
على الله توكلنا. On our God we have put our trust.
Yep. Very powerful.
ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق. افتح بيننا. الفتح, كلمة فتح معناها نصر, victory.
So here they've translated the English to say decide, but like I understand what you mean, because victory between us, so decide who is going to be the victorious between us and between our people.
Absolutely, because there is another verse in the Holy Quran, ببداية سورة الفتح. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. Now, the word فتح, إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح, is a confirmation of victory of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So this is what it means in this verse, in this.
And quickly to translate to everybody, just the verse, the surah, the 3-verse surah that was mentioned. إذا جاء فتح الله No, actually, you know what?
إذا جاء نصر الله
والفتح. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربه واستغفر إنه كان توابا. We'll get to it when we get to it. I think we should just repeat it, but it's kind of the same. It's the same verb, fatih, and so it's like a decision between us and our people. So it also can mean the victory, because if the decision is favorable, if the decision in your favor, then it is considered victory. But we agree. So upon God we put our trust, and our Lord decide between us and the people in truth, and indeed you are the best of the ones who decide, or the judge.
Again, there is another meaning for the word fatih. ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا. افتح, it literally means open. Now the situation Shu'aib has faced from his people is that they give them a choice. Either we kick you out of the village, or you come back to our religion, which is a deadlock. The Muslims with Shu'aib, believers with Shu'aib, said there is no way on earth you're going to go back to your religion. And we cannot do that unless God wishes us to. So there was a deadlock in the conversation, the dialogue between Shu'aib and his people. Now, God have used the word iftah to have both meanings, as a victory and as an open this deadlock between us and our people.
To resolve the deadlock, to decide which side is the more truthful.
Exactly.
To decide which side has the more truthful, and which side will be correct. Yeah.
Next.
Next.
وقال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه لئن اتبعتم شعيبا إنكم إذا لخاسرون. The majority of Shu'aib's people who have disbelieved, they said, if you follow Shu'aib, you guys, you are definitely losers.
Yeah. So here, I mean, I know we've been saying Mala means the majority, but it also can apply to the chiefs.
To the
chiefs of the village, to the leaders.
Of course, because only the wealthy, filthy rich will fight against religion, against faith, against believing in God, because they cannot practice usury, human trafficking. I don't know, all the things that the religion says not to do.
Yeah.
They want to live their life to the fullest. Who are you to stop me from doing this, that, the other in the name of God? That's why the rich and wealthy, they hate religions. They don't follow religions.
Yeah.
Next. فأخذتهم الرجفة فأصبحوا في ديارهم جاثمين. الرجفة is the earthquake, the way I understand it.
Yeah.
فأخذتهم الرجفة فأصبحوا في ديارهم جاثمين. They جاثمين means like they're sleeping, just bodies.
Doesn't doesn't Jatham like kind of mean like well, I had a word in my head, corpses.
Yes,
like
bodies without soul, corpses. Without spirit.
Yeah, just bodies.
That's exactly what the word means. Jathman is a dead body.
Yeah, a corpse.
Yeah, corpse.
Cool. I mean,
Next.
I like how I'm saying cool, but we're talking about something that was very. So they all died in an earthquake and they became dead.
Our understanding, I hope it's cool. Our understanding, I hope it's in the right path. So that's cool. That's nothing wrong with that, I believe.
I understand, but it's just, and they died in an earthquake. Cool. So it just sounds kind of weird.
Okay. Next. الذين كذبوا شعيبا كأن لم يغنوا فيها. الذين كذبوا شعيبا كانوا هم الخاسرين. Those who disbelieved Shu'aib, like have never been rich in it. Those who disbelieved Shu'aib, he repeated it twice. They were the ones who were the losers, not Shu'aib or the people who or his followers, people who believed in his message, from God.
And I like your translation for يغنوا فيها. They were the ones who weren't rich in it, rather than the translation that I see before me, which is as if they have never lived there. I think
God used the word يغنوا من الغنى, from richness.
From richness, yeah.
Wealthiness.
That's what I understand. Like if I just take the word itself and put it into Google Translate, it will. They sing. Oh, يغنوا. No. Okay. I agree with you. I think it means they were never rich from it. They didn't really. It can be a metaphor for lived, but I think rich makes more sense. And then they were the losers for sure, the ones who denied Shu'aib. Clear.
Next. فتولى عنهم وقال يا قوم لقد أبلغتكم رسالات ربي ونصحت لكم فكيف آسى على القوم الكافرين. Oh my people, he turned away from them and he said, listen people, I have given you the messages of God and I have advised you to the best course of action, to the right course of action. So how do you expect me to feel sorry for people who are disbelievers? It's your choice, guys. My job was done, is to deliver the message to you, the word of God. Whether you want to believe and follow or not, that's up to you.
This is interesting because here Shu'aib is saying, how can I grieve for you for a people that's disbelieving? Whereas in the Quran with other messengers, sometimes they didn't feel this, and God was reassuring them that they shouldn't feel sad for the people that disbelieved. So
I think it depends on the relationship between the messenger of himself and his people. Like, for instance, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was an orphan. He didn't come from a rich family. Other people were other messengers of God. They had power. They had some power. So I don't know. Maybe that's true. I
just find it interesting that Shu'aib himself knows that how would I grieve for people that are disbelieving. Like, he has that thing which God reminds a lot of the other messengers and prophets. It's very interesting.
It's like he said, I've done my job here. Either you believe or you don't. That's your business. I'm not going to be sorry for you guys.
Which is what God tells a lot of the messengers in other cases, that you shouldn't worry about it, you shouldn't grieve. It even tells the Prophet Muhammad in many times, don't feel sad about the people that disbelieve, because God has cast their hearts and hardened their hearts, so don't feel bad about it. So even the Prophet Muhammad has been given many instructions of why he should not feel sorry for them. And Shu'aib seems to know that, which is just interesting.
Salam. Next.
وما أرسلنا في قرية من نبي إلا أخذنا أهلها بالبأساء والضراء لعلهم يضرعون.
We have never sent a messenger or a prophet in any village unless we have tried them with good and bad, so that maybe they will pray for God and ask for help and guidance.
Wait, so we have never sent to any city from any prophet, except that we have seized its people with adversity and with hardship, so that they may be humble?
Yeah, so that they pray to God, God, please save us from all the atrocities we're going through.
So
maybe they'll go back to God. Maybe they'll pray. Maybe they'll ask God for help.
But here it's saying we didn't send a messenger, or we didn't send a prophet to a city except one that has tasted hardship and adversity.
Okay,
that's very. We haven't sent a prophet specifically, not a messenger, just to be specific. So, but they only send a prophet to a city or a people or a nation that have already tasted adversity and hardship.
Yes, but we have to be careful. I don't know what you got in translation. A city. It's not a city. It's a village.
It's a village.
And there is a difference. There is a difference between village and city as far as religion is concerned. As far as the Quran is concerned, the Quran uses the word city to describe a big chunk of population, and they have different faiths, different beliefs, different choices. When he uses the word qarya, village, it means necessarily that they are all, or the majority of them, are in the same religion, same mood, same thinking, same identical.
How do you know this?
From reading so many tafsir of Quran before.
Okay. Because, I mean, the English translation on the website is saying a city, and it mentions a prophet. So, like, for instance, the Prophet Muhammad, did he come to, would this apply to the Prophet Muhammad, or the Prophet Jesus, or the Prophet Moses?
Well, I just remembered the verse in the Holy Quran that says, وَجَاءَ مَنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى. This verse doesn't say a village. It says a city.
That's
not a village. That's a city. Now, the difference between city and village, as far as I understand from the language of the Quran, is that the group of people in a village, they believe in the same thing. The majority of them believe in the same thing. While in the city, there is a multicultural understanding and acceptance amongst each other, amongst them.
So you're saying this statement that we're reading above us, in front of us, does not apply to the Prophet Muhammad, does not apply to the Prophet Jesus, does not apply to the Prophet Moses, sallallahu
The way I see it, the people in Mecca before Islam was inhabited by pagans, it was inhabited by Jews, it was inhabited by Christians. So it was a multi religions around them. So you can't call it qarya. It has to be a city.
I understand your definition of Qarya and city based off of the books that you've read. I'm just trying to understand if this verse that we're reading applies to the Prophet Muhammad, and in this case, you are saying it does not apply to the Prophet Muhammad.
As far as I know, I think Mecca and the areas around it is a city. It was a city. Remember, it was a center of trade in those days from Yemen to Syria. They were in the middle.
I get that. I'm just saying that I thought this was applying to him as well, and that's all.
I think it doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. This is how I understand it.
But anyway, to understand what this verse is saying, we don't send it to a village, let's say. We don't send a prophet to the village unless they've tasted adversity or hardship.
Maybe they will pray to God and ask for guidance and help.
And be humble.
Maybe they'll believe. Maybe they'll go straight. They walk on the straight path. Maybe.
I just find it interesting. Yeah, they say become humbled is the translation here that we see in front of us.
الضراعة هي الدعاء. يعني تضرع إلى الله. It's praying to God.
It's praying.
Deeply, emotionally, desperately for God to help you. هي الضراعة.
Yeah.
وهي معنى يتضرعون.
Okay. So this is the prayer. So they don't send a prophet to a village unless they've tasted hardship and adversity. Interesting.
Next.
ثم بدلنا مكان السيئة الحسنة حتى إذا عفوا وقالوا قد مس آباءنا الضراء والسراء فأخذناهم بغتة وهم لا يشعرون. Then when we have switched the good with the bad with the good.
Yeah, replace the bad with
atrocities,
the good.
Atrocities and hardship, we took it away and gave you the good one. The easy life and things like life is good.
Yeah.
Money is plenty, food is plenty, and life is good. حتى عفوا, then they forgot. Here the word عفو معناها forgiveness.
So again, we have a translation issue. For some reason, حتى عفوا, they've translated it to they've increased until they flourished. What I think that your translation makes more sense.
حتى عفوا, that to me means that they forgot the hardship, and then they said وقالوا قد مس آباءنا الضراء والسراء, and then they said we're not the only ones who have been through hardship and bad times. Our parents, our ancestors before had been through this hardship life.
And ease.
And now what happened to them? فأخذناهم بغتة.
Hardship and ease. الضراء والسراء, they're opposites, right?
Yeah.
So they're saying, so like even though they felt it like, oh, like, you know, good times come, good times go, things are bad, things are good, they kind of belittle it.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah. So then we seize them suddenly while they did not perceive.
Next.
Why did we seize them? Because they...
This is torture.
Yeah, but why are we torturing them? Why are we torturing them?
Because they thought that when the good times came along, they didn't think, they didn't reconsider their attitude. They said, okay, it happened to our ancestors before, and it's just normal. It happens to everybody.
Yeah, but
they didn't go back.
That alone is not enough to punish them for it. Like they were
punished. Sorry, Ahmed. They were punished because of the bad deeds and that denial of the messengers of God.
Yeah, but this verse doesn't say that. But because
it came after the verse we just read. وما أرسلنا في قرية من نبي إلا أخذنا أهلها بالبأساء والضراء. And here they say our ancestors has been touched by good and bad, by hardship and good life.
Yeah.
When they forgot what happened to them, how bad things were, we took them suddenly without them even realizing.
Okay.
Took them here means the punishment, death, khalas.
Yeah. We seize them by surprise, but yeah. I feel like it's missing something, but it's fine. Let's try and move on.
Okay. ولو أن next one.
Yeah.
ولو أن أهل القرى آمنوا واتقوا لفتحنا عليهم بركات من السماء والأرض ولكن كذبوا فأخذناهم بما كانوا يكسبون.
And this is
And
what
the
was
people,
missing. This is what was missing for me exactly.
here is the answer of your question.
Yeah.
Had the people of villages believed and be cautious, be careful about تقوى ما بعرف شو معناها هون.
Be mindful or fearful of God. Be mindful.
Fearful of God, exactly. That's a good translation. Be fearful of God. We would have opened up everything for them from heaven and earth. But they have lied. They didn't believe in our messengers. So we took them with what they have earned. We took them, it means we punished them. We took them, and when God says أخذوا فأخذناهم, it's something to describe the way they died all of a sudden. Nobody would have seen that coming.
Yeah.
Like an immediate earthquake that buries everybody.
Yeah.
Or what happened to Loth village and the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
Nobody expected heaven to meteoroids to be showered by meteoroids and death from the sky. Nobody.
We didn't actually.
And his wildest dream would have thought this would happen.
You mentioned now the Dead Sea with the people of Lut, but we didn't have it in the previous episode. We didn't actually talk about the connection between the Dead Sea and Sayyidina Lut. Do you want to?
Well, this is just a remark so that when we come to the verse, the surah, we will have a background.
Yeah, but there was no mention of the Dead Sea, for instance, in the previous verses, and we didn't talk about it on our own. So how do you know that the people of the Dead Sea? How do you know that people of Lut are connected to the people of the Dead Sea? What's the connection?
Because the Dead Sea is the lowest point on the surface of Earth.
And?
That's the lowest anybody can reach.
So
what the Lut people has reached, it was the lowest.
Is it just that metaphor that makes the connection? I thought there was something else.
No, actually, the كتب التفاسير, the books of explanation of the Quran, many people have suggested that it's even called the Sodom and Gomorrah. It's there in Sodom and Gomorrah in Dead Sea. And that's the saltiest sea on earth.
Yeah. Where was Sodom and Gomorrah? All serious Bible scholars place Sodom and Gomorrah on the east side of the Jordan River in the modern-day Kingdom of Jordan.
Which is the Dead Sea. And Palestine, obviously.
Interesting. We didn't talk about it last time, so I wanted to kind of bring it up. But, okay, clear. So here, the reason why they were seized is because if they had believed and were fearful of God, then we would have opened the blessings from the heaven and the earth, but they have denied, so we seized them with what they used to earn. Very clear.
Next.
أفأمن أهل القرى أن يأتيهم بأسنا بياتا وهم نائمون.
Where the people of the villages were so sure that nothing is going to happen to them, that our hardship will not hit them when they are overnight or sleeping.
Yeah.
Why were they so sure that's not going to happen?
Yeah.
Translation?
No, there's no need translation. I think that was pretty clear. That was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next verse. أوأمن أهل القرى أن يأتيهم بأسنا بياتا وهم يلعبون. That's almost the same verse. The first one while they are sleeping, and this one while they are playing.
You didn't say duhan for some reason.
الضحى is lunchtime.
Yeah. I know you didn't say it while you were reading the phrase.
Yeah, let me read the verse again. أوأمن أهل القرى أن يأتيهم بأسنا ضحى وهم يلعبون.
Yeah.
The first one is while they were at night or asleep, or were they sure our hardship is not going to hit them at noon while they are still praying.
Yeah. So
and the third one that follows, أفأمنوا مكر الله فلا يأمن مكر الله إلا القوم الخاسرون. Now, makr, how do you translate the word makr?
The way that I understand it is like it's a plot. It's like a.
It's
can,
exactly a plot.
yeah, like a plan that you set into motion to achieve a change, to do something, to make something happen.
Exactly. And this brings us to the story of the demon Iblis when God asked the angels to bow for Adam, and Iblis said, "No, I'm not going to do it." God knew before he even created Adam that the devil, the demon, has so much pride, so much I. He's full of I, full of himself. And he knew if God favored another creature on him, he's going to show his true color. And indeed, when he created Adam, when God created Adam and asked the angels to bow for Adam, he refused. And he asked him, "أستكبرت أم كنت من العالين?" Do you think you are higher than Adam, or you indeed believe that you are from the higher people? You are from the angels. You're not from the angels, man. You're from the jinn. فهذا مكر الله. This is God's plot.
Oh, so you're saying the whole story was the plot of God?
I believe so, because this is before God decided to create a creature and put him on Earth, on planet Earth. Before he sends him to Earth, he needed to give him like a vaccine. He gave him an example to show him that the devil is your enemy, Adam.
Okay, but
and that explains why the devil came to Adam and told him, "This you should eat from this tree," and
sure,
God didn't ban you from eating from this tree. Blah blah blah. The rest of the story. It was planned that way, so that Adam will come to planet Earth prepared, with knowledge that the devil is gonna try every moment to mislead him.
All right, but
from the right path.
We can stray off into a discussion, but let's bring it back to the verses that we were looking at. Do they feel Do they feel secure from the plan of God? So from the judgment of God, from God seizing them. But it was not. Nobody would be secure from the plan of God except for a people who are losers. So the people who think that they are immune to God's judgment are the ones that
are losers.
They're losers indeed. So also find this reminds me of Donald Trump whenever you hear the word losers. Sorry. But it's just people who thinks, so whoever feels secure from the plan of God is except for the people who are losers. So if you feel secure that you're beyond God's judgment, then really you are one of the losers. And that's clear.
Absolutely. Next. أولم يهدي للذين يرثون الأرض من بعد أهلها أن لو نشاء أصبناهم بذنوبهم ونطبع على قلوبهم فهم لا يسمعون. People who have came after Shu'aib, after Al-Ahqaf, after Hud, Nuh, Salih, and all these messages of God, those prophets of God, people who have taken the land after them, did they not see what happened to the people before them? And do they not know that if we actually want, we can punish them for their own sins, for their own guilt? And we stamp on their hearts that they don't listen. They don't want to listen.
There's a lot of things happening here. أولم يهدي للذين يرثون. Was it not guided for those who inherit the land from after its people, that if we had willed, we had afflict them for their sins and put a seal over their hearts so that they do not hear? And again here, this ties back to the concept of free will. And this ties back to the concept of hardened hearts.
You've translated so that they don't hear. And the answer, the proper translation, it's because they don't hear. Because they did not hear. We have stamped them that they don't hear, they don't listen. I don't want to know.
Yeah, so here
They
it
don't
could
want
be.
to know what happened to people before them. They don't
I,
want to know what happened to them. Yeah,
I hear you. Let me explain it to the people.
Sorry.
فهم لا يسمعون. فهم لا يسمعون. It can be so that they do not hear, or because that they do not hear. فهم لا يسمعون. So we put a seal over their hearts because they do not hear, or we put a seal over their hearts. I wonder if it translates into. How does it translate into Google? Even though this is not very effective. Yeah, the Google, they translated it so فهم لا يسمعون, so they do not hear. ونطبع على قلوبهم فهم لا يسمعون. It could be both ways. It could be that we have printed over their hearts so that they do not hear, and we have printed over their hearts because they do not hear. And I find that your perspective is that you remove all I don't want to say blame, but you remove all responsibility from God planting over their covering their hearts, as if that has no effect. You seem to only believe that it's only humans' will, whereas I don't know. The Quran mentions many times that we harden their hearts and we put over it, and those that aren't going to believe, and this is God's will as well. So that's how I understand this one. نطبع على قلوبهم. We put a seal over their hearts because so that they do not hear. Like, we put the seal and then they did not hear.
Okay. Maybe if this is the way you say it, but the way I read it from the tafsir, because they were not listening. Because they don't listen.
It's possible. It's just we've had this many times in many different verses of the Quran, many times where it says God has hardened their hearts. So even when it was like giving advice to Sayyidina Muhammad, saying don't bother because their hearts are hardened and their hearts cannot hear, so it's not for you to tell them. And the main takeaway that I get from that is that as a messenger, as a preacher, your job isn't to convince someone that they should believe. Your job is supposed to help them understand and explain when they do believe, but you can't make someone hear you if they don't want to hear you, you know? And that's
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the job of the messenger and prophet of God.
Yeah.
Their job is to deliver the message and explain it.
And if they don't listen, they don't listen, and they're not supposed to
if
listen.
They don't listen. It's up to them. It's their life, their decision.
Yeah. Okay.
Next. تلك القرى نقص عليك من أنبائها ولقد جاءتهم رسلهم بالبينات فما كانوا ليؤمنوا بما كذبوا من قبل كذلك يطبع الله على قلوب الكافرين. We are telling you the stories of the villages before, and we tell you that the messengers of God has came to them and gave them evidence about the existence of God, and they should do good deeds, they should abstain from bad deeds, from bad actions. They wouldn't have believed what they have already decided. It was a lie. There is no God, there is no messenger of God.
So they wouldn't believe what they had already denied from before?
Denied from before.
Yeah.
كذلك يطبع الله على قلوب الكافرين. Now, after they receive the message and they refuse to believe in what they have denounced, then we stamp on their hearts, the hearts of the disbelievers. No? Makes sense? Yes.
I hear you. Yeah, I do see an order of priorities. That first, what happened is that they wouldn't have believed in what they had denied from before. So before, the order came is that they denied before, and that is how God has put a seal over their hearts of the disbelievers. And I truly firmly believe this. So I'm consuming a lot of content on YouTube, and there's like, for instance, an atheist that is talking about the Bible, talking about all of these expressions. I should know his name by now, but I could probably find it. Let's not get into it. The point is, he doesn't say that he wants to disbelieve. He says that he wants to believe, and he just hasn't reached the right time yet. So I believe when the time is right, he will believe. And it's not the same as someone who's looking and not finding. It's specifically talking about those that deny from before they were given the proofs. Messages they're given.
I think it's easier for them not to believe than to believe.
I don't know if it's easier, but it's definitely a choice that they make, and
that too, absolutely, yes.
And it's like, Yeah, maybe it is easier in a way because it's what they've already chosen and it's some kind of bias that happens. But yeah, for me, I think what's important here is that the decision to disbelieve happens beforehand. You go, do I believe? Do I not believe? No, I don't believe, and this is not for me. You know.
تمام.
Next.
وما وجدنا لأكثرهم من عهد وإن وجدنا أكثرهم لفاسقين. We haven't seen to the majority of them keeping their covenants. Although we found the majority of them فاسقين. الفاسق هو he who goes in the wrong path.
Intentionally.
Lying, cheating, stealing, killing, everything is okay as long as I can gather money and be rich.
Yeah, defiantly disobedient. The ones that rebel.
Do you wanna go to the translation or understood?
No, that's good. Clear.
Next.
Yep.
ثم بعثنا من بعدهم موسى بآياتنا. Now the word ثم it's أداة كلمة تعني الترتيب مع انقضاء زمن.
An order of something happened and something else happened in the span of some time.
Yes, if he said فبعثنا من بعدهم موسى, that means immediately Musa came after them.
Yeah.
After Shu'aib and
So thumma means
so there was a period of time after them, and then we sent Moses with our miracles,
with our signs.
ثم بعثنا من بعدهم موسى بآياتنا إلى فرعون وملئه فظلموا بها فانظر كيف كان عاقبة المفسدين. Then we sent after these people has gone, we sent Moses to Pharaoh of Egypt,
to the Pharaoh
and his people. فظلموا بها, they've been injustice with it. What does injustice mean? Denial of the existence of God, denial of doomsday, heaven and hell, denial of anything and everything that comes after death.
Yeah,
that's ظلم. You are being unfair to yourself. فانظر كيف كان عاقبة المفسدين. See how the people who were wrongdoers have ended.
Yeah.
Now this verse was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, 1400 years ago, and at that time nobody ever saw a mummy of any pharaohs. So how can God subhanahu wa ta'ala say to Prophet Muhammad and people around them, take a look at what happened to the people who were corrupt? Only recently, in the 19th century, they found the mummies of the pharaoh who was the what do you call it? The شو معنى التشريح بالإنجليزي?
I'm not sure I follow you.
Anyway, it was proven scientifically that he died as drowned. He was
autopsy. That's what you were saying.
Autopsy. Yeah, autopsy has proved that pharaoh has died from drowning. And this is an evidence that what the story of Moses and Pharaoh is actually true.
Okay.
Factual.
Okay. But a couple of things. First of all, by this point, Christianity was alive and well, and Christianity also had the story of Moses, as well as the Torah and the people of Israel. So,
yeah, but none of them has seen the evidence.
Sure, but
until 19th century.
But the story was still carried down from generation to generation, from people to people. So the story of the pharaohs and the splitting of the sea were still in from the Israeli times, from the Christian times, and included in the Islamic times.
Okay.
But so see how it was the end of the corruptors. Clear.
وقال موسى يا فرعون إني رسول من رب العالمين. Moses said, "Hey Pharaoh, I am the messenger from God, from the creator of all universes, from the God of everything."
Yeah. Next.
حقيق علي أن لا أقول على الله إلا الحق. It's truthfully that I will never say about God except the truth. قد جئتكم ببينة من ربكم. I came with you with an evidence, with a proof that I am a messenger of God. فأرسل معي بني إسرائيل. Let me take the Israelites from Egypt out of your country.
So send with me the children of Israel.
Children of Israel. Next.
Yeah.
قال إن كنت جئت بآية فآتي بها إن كنت من الصادقين. If you indeed have come with a proof, with the evidence, show it to me if you are telling the truth. What was the
miracle of Moses?
The miracle and the evidence that proved that Moses, peace be upon him, was in fact indeed a messenger of God.
So this is where the Quran gets really interesting for me, because I've always been interested in magic. But carry on.
Okay. Actually, the Quran says in another verse, another surah, that Moses gave them 9 signs, 9 evidence.
Yeah. But let's get into the one that's mentioned here, because it's very exciting.
You want witchcraft, you want magic, and you want us.
Exactly. I've always, as a child, wanted this kind of in my life. But yeah.
Well, you know the story of Moses when God told him, throw your stick from you hold it from your hand. When he threw it, it became a snake.
Read it. Read the verse, and we'll get the story.
You've been asking me not to stray away from the verse we're reading now. When we come to it, we'll come to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're saying the story instead of reading the verses that tell the story. You know what I mean?
It's coming here. It's coming again.
Yeah. So
إن كنت جئت بآية فأتي بها إن كنت من الصادقين. Next one says فألقى عصاه فإذا هي ثعبان مبين. And then he threw his stick, and it suddenly became a clear evidence snake.
A real life serpent, correct. Next.
And another evidence ونزع يده فإذا هي بيضاء للناظرين. Now, the Mufassirin, those who explain the verses of Quran, explain this verse through this story, is that when Moses, peace be upon him, was a child, I don't know what happened, something wrong went on, and somebody wanted to test the maturity of the child, Moses. Maybe he was an infant, maybe he was a toddler, I don't know. However, this is a story in the books. I don't say it happened. I don't say it didn't happen. I don't know. This is their explanation. That when he was a child, he was probably a toddler. He saw a piece of burning coal, charcoal, with its red color. He thought it was a fruit. And you know why kids, anything you give them, they'll put it in their mouth. So his hand was burnt because he touched the burning coal. And his tongue was hurt as well, and that's why Musa can elder. He couldn't speak freely and clearly.
Oh, he was
like everybody else.
Is that mentioned in the Quran that he couldn't speak very well?
Yes, because it says "Warsil ma'i akhi."
Send with me, my brother.
Let me remember the verse.
But let's.
وَاجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِنْ أَهْلِي هَارُونَ أَخِي.
We're straying a little bit. So the point is he pulls out his hand, and his hand was white for the observers. So one way of understanding this is that it was emitting light, and that's kind of a white light. Or the other thing, the explanation that you're saying just now, is that his hand was burnt and it was a different color, and then when he removed it out of his pocket, then it turned out to be white. It became white. So that's what you're saying from your story.
Yes. That's what I read in the tafsir. That's not my understanding.
Okay, no worries. But so this was the second. Yeah, this was the second sign. The first sign was that he turned his staff into a serpent. The second sign was that his hand was white. And then
there are so many. There comes 9 of them in different surahs.
Yeah, we'll get to them when we get to them. And then what happened? قال الملأ
من قوم فرعون إن هذا لساحر عليم. This is a huge magician. the majority of Pharaoh's people said, this is an excellent magician. This is the best. We've never seen anything like that.
And it's important to kind of mention that this was also a sign of the times. In the land of Pharaoh, there were magicians were a very big part of their culture and a very big part of what they do. So, for instance, and this always kind of ties into what the prophets come to bring to their people, is they usually come with signs that are relevant to what the people believe in. So in the time of the pharaohs, it was magic, and that's why magic was what was Moses' signs. In the time of Muhammad, for example, there was poetry. Poetry was all around, and there were so many poets everywhere. So the Quran that comes out in almost poetic form and in perfect Arabic structure becomes a proof for them in a way that they understand. So magic here was for the pharaohs, as I understand.
And what was the miracle of Jesus, peace be upon him?
Healing and bringing the dead back.
Why?
Why?
Why? Because the namely the Greeks were very good in medicine and treating lepers and all that.
Yeah.
And that's why God gave Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, the ability to heal the leopard and all that. It's the same challenge.
Yeah.
The thing that they know best.
Yeah, amazing. Very cool. So the chiefs or the people of Pharaoh said that this is surely a magician that is well learned.
Okay, he's a magician. Magician well learned, but what does he want? He wants to kick you out of their land, of your land. So what do you want to do? يريد أن يخرجكم من أرضكم فماذا تأمرون? He's a magician, very knowledgeable magician. And he wants to kick you out of your home. What do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
Next. قالوا أرجه وأخاه وأرسل في المدائن حاشرين. They said, hold him for a moment.
Yeah.
Keep him for a while, and his brother Harun, Moses' brother, and send in all cities, in all areas in Egypt, to bring the best magicians they have.
They say that
because this guy is a magician.
In the next verse, they say they'll bring the magicians. Can you repeat? Can you say it?
Yeah. قالوا أرجوه أخاه وارسل بعدين حاشرين. Next verses يأتوك بكل ساحر عليم. They will bring you the most knowledgeable magician in the country.
Yeah, to bring you every learned magician. Nice.
Next. وجاء السحرة فرعون قالوا أئن لنا لأجرا إن كنا نحن الغالبين. Now magicians, they wanted to make a deal with Pharaoh. They said, okay, if we beat this man in magic, will we be rewarded for this?
Will there be a reward if we prevail? What did he say?
Yeah. The Pharaoh said, قال نعم وإنكم لمن المقربين. Oh yes, you will be rewarded and you will be close to the palace, close to me.
And then? Exciting.
And then قالوا يا موسى إما أن تلقي وإما أن نكون نحن الملقين. The magicians of Pharaoh said to Moses, either you throw your stick or we will be the first to throw. So they gave him the option.
Yeah.
Do you want the lead? Or do you want the benefit of move number 1 in chess?
And then he said?
And then he said, قال ألقوا. No, you throw. قال ألقوا فلما ألقوا سحروا أعين الناس واسترهبوهم وجاءوا بسحر عظيم. When they threw their sticks and
first he said he told them
rope.
First he said he told them you throw. So then when they threw, they bewitched the eyes of the people and they terrified them and they came up with the magic that was great. So as exciting as this is, that's the end of the chapter. That end of the section that we're doing.
Already?
So, yeah, it's very exciting, but you're going to have to tune in next week. Please drop a comment if you feel frustrated that we have paused here and you would like us to continue stories to their completion rather than to the end of the location. And I will happily change the way that we release. I don't like cliffhangers, but I like order. So I like releasing an episode every Friday. So that's why we're stopping at this little star that we always stop at. But yeah, thank you very much for your time. As usual, we always end up with Sadaqallahu al-Ali al-Azim. And I would like to thank you, Captain Ahmad, for helping us with your wisdom and knowledge on the topic. And I say goodbye to everyone else. Yeah, over to you, Captain.
Thank you for having me, Ahmad. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Have a good day and goodbye.
Thank you all. I love you. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.